When I seems lost, thoughts lead you astray. Then I cry, then I feel pain. Why do I suffer so much? I would love to feel your touch. Baby, I don't know where to go. I'd be so lost without you. Baby, I don't know where to go. I'd be so lost without you. Baby, I don't know where to go. I'd be so lost without you. Baby, I don't know where to go. I'd be so lost without you. Save me before I pass out. Save me before I pass out. Before I pass out.
Welcome to what promises to be one of the most chaotic races of the season. It's round number 2 of the rookie race preseason. We have another set of 2 majorly difficult tracks for you today. The Netherlands and Monza will be host to some of the brightest rookies looking to enter MRL for season 10. We are still here in the preseason, and we'll also have a couple of the TPs present in the race as well, so you can get to know a couple of them, their skills, and what they're looking for potentially throughout this week. I am Dan of the Mac, Fallen Dan, Big Mac Dan, whatever you want to call me. I'm just Dan for some people. And joining me today is no one. I'm on my own. It's terrifying, but you know, it's kind of what I've come to learn to love about this. You may notice that we're not using the traditional sort of inlay as we normally do. I don't normally start on my own face. That is because I've had to set this up kind of jacked. It's a little bit messy over here, but I have got it ready to go. And we are almost ready to go for our first race. You have 10 drivers here. I believe 7 of them are rookies. Rice God, Monster Jammers, Sergeant Milk, Sandman, Beast, Avira, and IZ Terms, or Is Terms, I guess. We also have 3 TPs, though I don't know why Drix is here. Giants Fan and Lakota definitely are TPs, representing Alpine and McLaren, not respectively. I got them the wrong way around. But also, we are ready to get going to getting the rest of this social race filled up with talented, wonderful individuals as I get pinged for no good reason. Gotta love that. We also have apparently Yoga coming as well. He has been sent a friend request, but we're about to find out. Kiss My Axe might be joining us as well. Yeah, it appears that most people will be coming in. But yeah, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them. We have a lot to cope with this weekend. Of course, we have, again, like I mentioned before, a beautiful selection of tracks, and we can have a look through them a little bit here as I try and get one ready for you. The first track we will be visiting is, of course, the beautiful track of the Netherlands. It is Zandvoort that will be starting us out. A beautiful track with a lot of twisting turns. The banked corners are the biggest standout. There are very few tracks in F1 history that have had banked corners outside of the times that they went to Indianapolis and, of course, the original Monza curve. But speaking of Monza, that will be joining us later. A beautiful track, long straight for the main straight, mainly the one key overtaking point. The second DRS straight's a little bit too short, so maybe make a move unless you get a very good exit out of it. And let's have a look at the track a little bit more in detail here. You've got that first sector flowing fast into the middle sector where you want to be committed all the way through. Fair bit of elevation change, though it is mostly in that one sector, towards the end of sector 1, that uphill run towards the long right-hander that seems to go on forever. You want to keep it committed on the inside. Then again, as it swoops downhill through 8 and 9, and then into 10 and along that last DRS straight, it's very key to get overtakes done early in the lap. You do not want to be hanging around too late in this race, as we start getting more and more people into the lobby now. 14 corners will separate the meat from the crop. And of course, you're still stuck with me. So if you have any messages, drop them in chat above. I've actually got low latency on for once. Hey, I know, it's a miracle. I'm shocked as well. So yeah, if you have the ability to, drop me a message real quick. Let's see who we've got in chat today watching this one. I wonder if we've got any TPs also in chat. So we get a couple more people joining. Border X-Man joins. Bops and Edge are here now. Snakey, of course, for Aston Martin representing. 14 out of the 22 slots filled. I wonder if we'll get some more in before the 10-minute past mark. But yeah. A very interesting lobby, a very interesting set of young drivers. Not seen too many of them race. The only one I've actually seen race out of the new drivers so far is Monster Jammers, who I've seen race in a different league. Is a decent driver, has good pace, but maybe lacks a little bit in that long-term stability. But we'll see if that will play a factor today, representing the Alpine team. Of course, no one here, apart from the TPs, are actually signed to a team. No one has any idea what tier they're going to be in either. That's pretty much the genius of this league. No one knows where they're going. No one knows who they're driving for, as Henry and Yoga are able to get in. 16 now out of the 20 drivers we can have. Also, I've got a bit of a red nose. I apologise if I have to sneeze midway through this, or if I disappear for a bit. It's because I'm not necessarily too well. But hopefully that doesn't have too much of a negative factor. The lobby is up and joining now. We've got ping for social races, so let's see who is able to join. There's a lot of good drivers on the grid, I've noticed. A lot of very talented drivers. Snakey, of course, a member of the no assists tier this season. Let's actually have a look through a couple of them. Rice God is one of the rookie drivers. Very little is actually known about him, but he's been pretty active so far. Has an Alex Albon profile picture and joined the league back in May of last year. Of course, Happy New Year, everyone. It's 2024 now. God forbid we actually get that far ever again. And is just a reserve driver, reportedly, for this season. Or is currently listed as a reserve driver, but probably won't stay that way. Monster Jammers, of course, who is a member of the league already. But one of the key ones I wanted to keep an eye on was Sandman. Already driving for Ferrari, it appears, for this race. Is notably already signed up as a social race driver as well. So he wants to get competitive quickly and wants to be involved in races. That's good to see. Who else have we got? We've got Sergeant Milk, who's also only listed currently as a reserve driver. Joined yesterday, I want to point out. Joined the server yesterday, is already signed up for the league this season. Lovely, lovely stuff, that. Vera has been here since October, towards the end part of the season. A good set of hands there behind that wheel. Fingers crossed they'll do something. Yoga, who joined back at the midpoint of December as well. Let's see if I can find some of the other rookie members, because there are a lot more that I'm just missing. Jacob 1, who I don't think is currently present in the race, unless Jacob 1 is someone else. Potentially could be Border X-Man. Not sure. Either way, we'll have to see on that one. Looking around, as yay, voice chat's been suspended. Cannot see any of the other rookies off the top of my head, so I'm gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. Let's look through this list. That's not helping. Okay, well, I'm not gonna be able to find any of them, I don't think. Hello, Jacob. You are who? I can't even read my own chat. That's a problem. Let me have a look at that. What does that say? You are... Oh, your terms. Is it 2 terms or is terms? I can't tell. I also have chat cut off a bit, so you're going to need to type a lot to get yourself up on stream. But yeah, apologies for the delays. We are just getting the lobby filled up with drivers. That is the reason for the momentary pause. We got one driver here who hasn't picked a team. That is Saka. Picks Haas as their team. I think we're not too far away from getting going, you know. And once we do get going, it will be a chaotic race, I assure you. As is the case. We will have, of course, a qualifying session first and foremost. Then we'll be going into a 25% race. So we'll be able to see the 1 lap and the multi-lap pace of all the drivers. The track is set to dry. It will be dry the entire way. There will be no issue. Thanks for all the love, by the way, guys. I can see that. Everyone's spamming the heart there. We also know that damage is off for this race this week. There will be another one, I believe, tomorrow. If I remember correctly. Let me double check the events. Yes. Oh no, sorry, not tomorrow. Tuesday. Monday evening. Yeah, that is tomorrow. At 7 PM Eastern, there will be another one. I'm not sure who's hosting that one, but we'll see. It does appear to be Maud. And then, of course, on Tuesday at 7 PM Eastern, we'll have the pre-season and award show. Where we'll be running down a lot of things, including the TPs, the order they'll be picking for the draft, and the awards themselves, which are very, very important. as well as everyone who has received an award. If you haven't already, go and fill out the awards form. If you have the ability to, you should be able to find it by messaging Punju. Just message him a lot. You'll eventually get the list off him, which is good. And then, of course, the Last Chance Saloon on Wednesday at 7 p.m. The Last Chance rookie race. If you haven't already competed by that point and you are a rookie, that is your last chance to do so before we get going for the season. And, of course, on Friday, January 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern, the draft will begin. Season 10, expected to go for around 3 hours, reportedly. A huge draft with the first race then happening that Sunday, January 14th, kicking off at 11 a.m. Eastern time for Tier 6. It'll be a huge race, and we'll be interested to see how things go on with that. Apparently, someone's pinging to get someone on comms with me. No, I'll do it myself. Thank you, Giants fan. I'll do it myself. I appreciate the love, but no, Maud can stay there and monitor the racetrack as we get our first cars coming out onto the track. Let's have a look at a couple of those, shall we? Let's get some detail up, full map up, lap thingy up. Let's do their current tyres, and the first car out on track will be Sergeant Milk, one of our rookies for this season. In the Red Bull car, is already cooking those tyres around. As I accidentally tab out. That's a problem. Anyway. By the way, we have seen Lakota already retire from this one. As I need to pull this up so I can have a better look. Edge is reportedly swapped to intermediate tyres. Lord have mercy on anyone who gets stuck behind him. Either way, we do have a couple of cars out on track. Snakey is also out on track currently. Zeech as well. A couple of more familiar names now as well on the grid, including Zeech, who was here last season. I don't know who Zeech is actually, who is meant to be. Meant to be an Aston Martin. I think that's actually Henry. That it's pretending it is. That's lovely. It's got the name wrong. Either way, first lap here in the rookie race will be underway, and it will be Sergeant Milk, the Red Bull. Let's see what they can do. Rookie joined yesterday. Let's see what sort of time they can set as they go into the curved turn. Loses the back end a bit, but is able to keep it on the track. Great recovery job there, as apparently we've had a yellow flag for an Alpine. Sector 3. Now into the downhill right. Tries to keep the back end underneath. Does so well. Now the flowing rights. Don't want to get too onto the curb here because it makes braking so much more difficult for that corner. Carry the speed through. To the long left where you want to get on the throttle so early. But at the same time not that late. Because otherwise you'll be in a deep world of trouble. DRS straight now. Barely braking at the 100-meter board. Flick it right, then left again, into the long corner. Again, just seems to go on forever, and they tend to around Zandvoort. Now chasing up through the banked final corners. You don't want to get on the throttle too early. The back end will step out. Hold it tight towards the line. Grabs the DRS, centre of the track, goes to the left, and it will be a 1:11.3 to start us off, though I feel like the Alfa Romeo behind him of Yoga will be about to beat him. And it will. 1:10.1. Now here comes the Williams across the line of Edge, who is starting their flying lap. Haas crossing the line. It's Sacco goes P2. Across the line comes the AlphaTauri. Border X-Man also sets a 1:10.2. Only a 10th off pole, but that's not currently good enough for the front row. Across the line comes a Alpine. That's Monster Jam. It's 10.5. And starting the lap behind them, I believe, is the other Williams car of Bob's. And Jammers does a good job getting out of the way. Now, who else do we have on laps? We do have Terms on a lap currently. As Sandman goes very much faster in the Ferrari, a 109.4. Great lap from him. Got a McLaren coming across the line now. It's either Giants fan or Drix. It doesn't really matter. We expect one to be on pole, but Giants fan has failed to put a good lap in. Drix does not. A 108.6, a great lap from him to show the pace of Tier 1. Across the line comes Terms. It's only a 110.9, but it's still a solid lap time from them. RB now coming across the line. That's RCO. Never mind. That was actually not RCO. That was Sergeant Mill coming into the pits. As across the line comes Beast with not the greatest time, a 121.1. Must have made a mistake somewhere. Edge across the line with a 114.0. AlphaTauri of Border X-Man went for a second lap. Managed to do a second lap on the same set of softs and went much quicker. Great lap from them. Across the line now comes the Williams of Bops, and that's a 109.4. Great lap from him as the Alpine behind chucks it into the pit lane. Currently on board with Beast94, who is, I believe, on another lap. May have made a mistake in the first one. Doesn't seem to be making the mistake now. As the other Ferrari ahead pits, that's Sandman, who is currently on the second row of the grid. Only 1,000th behind Bops. We also do have Avira yet to set a lap that we are looking to see. Avira, of course, the Mercedes driver, and is now on their way out of the pit lane, notably. Ahead, meanwhile, of the Ferrari is RiceGod, who is just coming into the pit lane themselves. As here comes Beast. What can they do? Can they go into that top half of the table? Yes, they can. Go right alongside their teammate, a 109.6. Great lap from them. That's put them firmly in the driver's seat. Meanwhile, Edge will box. The McLaren, however, crosses the line. And I believe that was Giants fan, unable to improve or maybe going for a second cooldown lap. This is the pace we expect to see, though. Is Giants fan absolutely cooking on these tyres and sent... Oh, never mind! Never mind, indeed. Giants fan has almost died completely. That would have been very funny to catch on stream, Giants. I'm so upset you didn't bin it. Alright. Moving on from them, we do have a Red Bull on a flyer, or was on a flyer, but has unfortunately invalidated their lap. That would have been RCO, who is currently doing their best to save some fuel. I believe they got 6.7 laps worth of fuel. I can see on their little MFD there. Another car that we are looking to see set a lap is Avira. And, of course, some of the Aston Martins. This is Snakey, who we know in Tier 1 last season, I believe. Was a very talented driver. I expect to see a lot out of them, but the focus has to be on the rookies. And that means RCO, RC and Avira. These are the two we are watching. We're going to go and watch both of their laps simultaneously here as we try and keep an eye on how they're doing. Of course, unfortunate timing here for, I believe, someone in the pit lane. Or, no, it was not. It was just about well timed from the Williams team. They've kept the car out of the way. Meanwhile, a yellow flag in Sector 1. That's for a slow-moving Mercedes. That'll be RiceGod getting out of the way. As a purple first sector from RC. Great job from them. As now through goes the other Mercedes. That is Avira behind, who's also doing a pretty solid first sector. Now coming up to the next sector board. RC will cross it first. RC goes purple. Is looking quick. What about Avira? Where are they in the mix? They're even faster. So I think the purple may be lying, but still a good 7/10 improvement from Avira. Great job from them. Now across the line will be RC. They will be the first one. Let's go on board with the Red Bull as they come across the line. Will they be able to interrupt the top half? It is a P6 currently with a 110 flat. Meanwhile, behind them, Avira goes up to P2. A 109 flat. The best lap we've seen out of a rookie yet. As Snakey sets a 108.7. A good lap indeed. As the Williams of, I believe that is Edge, begins their flying lap. And across the line comes the other Mercedes of RiceGod, who is starting their second. RiceGod didn't hook up the lap as they wanted to originally, but they're going to go for another one. As is Yoga, who's actually been on a lap, but has had to back off it appears, and is now going for a new one. Let's see what they can do. We haven't seen them yet. Sergeant Milk is unfortunately disconnected from the server. Someone will have to re-invite them. They are in the Red Bull in the pit lane, fortunately. Not the one on track. As Yoga now comes around the turn. Oh, has had a big snap of oversteer. It's put them off and into the grass, and that is unfortunate because that lap was shaping up rather well. They got some great momentum. Meanwhile, there appears to be an AlphaTauri stopped. That's Jordan! And they've put it in the barrier. And Jordan, you have to be careful here because there are cars coming. Oh no, he's pulled into the way of the Haas! Oh, what are you doing, Jordan? That was Sacco, thankfully, as Sacco has received a 5-less grid penalty for that collision. I feel that's a bit hard done by, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think he deserved that. Meanwhile, across the line comes to Mercedes. That was Ricegod setting a 1:10.5. Better lap from them. Meanwhile, Giants Fan and Drix will begin their laps. We don't really care about them today. We do care about, however, is Beast, who is starting their flying lap in the Ferrari. What will they be able to do? As across the as into the pits comes Yoga. Not able to improve on their lap. Beast 94 looked quick in their first lap, but that time has slowly but surely been whittled away at by a couple of other talented drivers. Border X-Man and Sandman, his own teammate, currently sat 2/10 quicker. He's found a couple of hundreds in the first sector. It's difficult to find too much time through there if you've already maximised it. It's this middle sector where you're wanting to carry as much pace as possible, go as wide as you dare, and is doing a great job so far as Beast. Now carries the speed through the left-hander, takes it tight without getting too much curb, gets the exit as well. This could be a very, very strong lap from the Ferrari. Matching again in the middle sector. Consistency seems to be key for them here. As across the line, we're seeing a couple of cars now. I believe the AlphaTauri and the McLaren. One of the McLarens has pit. The AlphaTauri crosses the line. It's Jordan with a 2:02. Not a great lap from them. Across the line comes Giants Fan, puts them only P5. Here comes Beast though. Much better final sector, and they will get the upper hand on their teammate. They are up to P6 on the grid for the first of our 2 races here today. But still, it is Drix who is on a great lap. Who's done a great lap to put themselves up to P1, Snaky P2, but it is Avira and Border X-Man who have done an amazing job to get their cars on the front row or the second row of the grid, ahead of Giants Fan and ahead of Beast. Bob's in 7th currently for Williams, and it's a Williams-Ferrari sandwich from 6th to 9th, with a rounding out of our one Red Bull on track, that being RC, who is starting their flying lap now. Also, I believe starting their flying lap is Terms. Terms is just ahead at turn 3 currently. We'll have a look at them real quick as we head through. Terms a little further down the grid than they would like to be at the moment. A 10.5 is a good second off of that front half that they're looking for. But I wonder if they've just not been able to hook up the lap. A 10th slower in the first sector, which isn't great. And you can see they've actually turned the ERS light off. I don't know if they're intended to do that, but this is a lap without ERS. Meanwhile, the car behind them, RC, seems a bit shaky, but is still pushing. What sort of a middle sector have they been able to pull off? They're a good quarter of a second up. This is a good lap from them. They're looking to try and break into that top 8 if they get a very good final sector. How will they handle these 2 corners? Little bit of lag. That's fine. We've seen worse. Oh, it's very laggy. But RC has been able to keep it together for the final sector and puts themselves into P7, matching Beast identically. Beast, mind, who is on a better lap. Oh! Was on a better lap. A spectacular crash from Beast. Well done, mate. That's a beauty. Meanwhile, Jordan, still on a flying lap, has not been able to connect with one. Was actually up by a second coming around the final corner, but was still not going to be anywhere close to where they needed to be. As we get the final car on track is D-Master. Meanwhile, Beast appears to be setting up for a second lap, but doesn't have the ERS for it. As across the line now comes a Mercedes. That will be of Ricegod, who's looking to start their final flying lap. We don't have much time left in the session. Looking to go faster than a 1:10.5. A good tenth would find them only P13. That's not a great first corner, to be fair. Now the run down. Bank turn. Go wide to carry the speed, but you've got marbles on your tyres. They need to be gone before the next section, and they've backed out. In fact, everyone seems to have backed out. Jesus, that's a queue forming. Here comes the McLaren and an Alpine, none of them on a lap. And that is Border, who has only set the single lap and is currently sat P4. Meanwhile, behind them, a Ferrari of Beast is going around for a second cool down lap to burn some fuel. Those tyres, though, are going to be struggling towards the end of this one. Sacco like taco. Coming through the first sector. How are they looking? 10th down currently. As everyone begins to feed out of the pits now towards their final flying lap. We've got about 3 minutes left on the clock. Oh, and Sacco's cut the corner. And that is unfortunate. Because there's not a lot of time to get ERS back. So they're going to have to go for another warm cooldown lap. Here's Monster Jammers, who we haven't seen much of so far. In that Alpine, we'll be going for their second flying lap. I've set a 1:10.3, which is not a bad lap at all. It is just a little ways off what they're needing to set to be anywhere close to that top 10. They need to find at least half a second, if not more, throughout this lap. Now running through the first sector. They found a 10th.5 already. Keeps the car underneath them beautifully. Now the fast right. You've got to be so committed through there. Has done a good job. Now got to carry the speed as Sacco has retired in the pit lane. They're done for the session. They will not be improving from P13, but they may fall further if Monster Jammers has their way. Couple of cars on laps. Henry, I think, is about to start one. Henry currently set P19. Hasn't set a standardised time yet. Here comes Monster Jammers, though, who is looking to improve massively. Have they been able to? Across the line they come. They have! It's a 109.7. It's enough for only P11, though, as D-Master has just improved with a 109.6 to knock them out of a potential top 10. Meanwhile, elsewhere, we've got cars on laps. D-Master's just finished his. Let's have a look around. RC has just gone to P7. No, RC is just on a flying lap. Trying to check around. Giants Fan. Oh, Giants Fan has set a good lap. And RC has absolutely pinned it into a wall. Now needs to keep off the racing line because there are cars coming. And they are coming quickly. Bops, not on a lap, has a car directly behind. That's the Haas of Terms, who I believe was on a lap. Or still might be. Is a good 3/4 of a second down, though. So I don't think they'll be improving. 55 seconds to go. They still need to get around for another lap. Cars are starting to cross the line rapidly. There goes a McLaren. Here comes an Aston Martin of Henry. What will they set? So 1:10.6 puts them currently P17. Not a great improvement from them. Here comes Jordan. The AlphaTauri, got a couple of other drivers crossing the line. That was a Mercedes crossing the line. Believed to start a lap of Avira. Ricegod will not be improving from P15. Also, the Williams behind them crossing the line. That would be Edge starting their flying lap. As in comes the McLaren of Giants Fan. They are done for the session. Across the line now comes the Haas. I believe that is the fight, or some of the final cars to start flying laps. This is going to be close for Monster Jammers here. He will not be starting another flying lap. As meanwhile, Sandman has jumped up to P5. Has overtaken Border. But Border's up by a 10th. Will they be able to break back on to P5? They keep it tight to the line. They will not be able to do it. Couple of hundred slow. Across the line comes their teammate. Jordan goes P10. Across the line comes the Ferrari now of Beast. Not good enough for them. They're still P7. Drix is still on pole. Snakey's still P2. As we stand, here comes D-Master. D-Master boxes. What about Henry? Will Henry be able to improve? No. Still P18 for them. Here comes the Mercedes of Avira. It's 4 tenths down in the middle sectors, not improved. Will go and remain P4 for now. Sandman, a second down in the first sector. He's not improving. What about RC? 10th down in the middle sector. Behind them, Bops. We'll watch from Bob's perspective as I think RC just ran out of fuel. And Bobs is going to use the toe. This could be a huge lap from Bobs. It's good enough for P4. Avira knocked onto the third row. Sandman not able to improve. They're done for the session with a final one to cross the line. And they will start P6. But a very eventful first qualifying session here in this one. As we see, apologies in chat above me. But it will be Drix and Snakey on pole. And the front row. Giants fan will be third, Bops fourth. The expected big hitters near the front of the field, but big ups to Avira, Sandman, Border X-Man, Beast, and RC, all putting in great laps to put themselves onto the third to fifth row respectively. Jordan sneaking into the top 10. D-Master starts alongside their teammate Yoga, another rookie driver here this season in P12, with Monster Jammers P13 for Alpine, Edge P14 for Williams. Saka Like Taco has a 5-place grid penalty. Will start from the back of the field in P20. Instead, it'll be Rice God and Term P15, P16, Henry and Sergeant Milk P17 and 18, Lakota P19, and then of course Sacco there in P20 as we get ready to go for the race. This is going to be a chaotic one. Netherlands is not an easy track to drive, to say the least. It's one of those ones where in an actual race setting you're going to have troubles being competitive, being consistent. This is a test of of driver quality, and we'll be able to see what we can from that. You can see just up there past my head that way. One second, let me get my finger there, right up there. You can see the Aston Martin lining up. I believe that is Snaky P2, which means evens have the inside line coming into turn 1. That is a crucial factor that many drivers will have to take note of. We're also, I forgot to mention for the pre-season show, we're also getting the track list for the season. So do tune into that. I believe it's Sunday night. Get yourself tuned in for that, and we'll see what tracks we're racing. Of course, we'll be matching the calendar when the racing comes back. So the final 3 races of the season will be the first 3 of the actual F1 season. So keep that in mind. But for now, as we get everyone ready to go, we're having a look at tyres, and Drix has decided to go for the softs. In fact, we will not be looking at tyres because there's 5 red lights. And away we go for the Dutch Grand Prix, and it's a jump start, I believe, from Sergeant Milk. Either that, they've had an absolute corker, but it's a good start for the front 2 as they go side by side. A great start, however, for... I'm trying to look at who's made some good moves. There's been some very bad moves. There's a couple of cars round. And it is Sergeant Milk and Jordan have gone round. They are at the back of the field. Meanwhile, more chaos ensuing up ahead as there's contact. I think Henry's gone into Sacco Like Taco. There's a car backwards. Bob's is somehow round on a straight. That takes skill. Tucks it off onto the grass. Good job from him to stay out of trouble. But you'll still have faster cars catching. Here comes Henry. He's got to be careful not to make another collision. But meanwhile, at the front, it is Drix from Snaky from Giants fan. Avira's made a great move up to P4. Has got ahead of Bops because of Bops' spin. I'm not sure forced or not. There's another spinner. That will be the Alfa Romeo of D-Master, who has collected Lakota in the process. And D-Master has received a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Lakota, as he now has to slowly rejoin. But around the first lap we have gone, and no one has retired because damage is off, thankfully. It is go green lap right racing somehow after all of that chaos. Avira still comfortably P4, Border behind P5 with RC chasing them down. Started P9, I believe, did RC. Has done a great job to get ahead of the Ferraris. Sandman ahead of Beast, and Yoga has actually had a great start. It's up to P9. Was alongside D-Master on the grid, P11, P12, but has managed to jump up 3 spots off the line. Let's have a quick look at those, and you can see that that is the case. Intervals, meanwhile, as Rice Guard has fell behind Edge momentarily. I actually don't know where that position change came from. I don't know why that flicks, but either way, good performance from both Term and Ricegod as well. Up 4 positions, avoiding the drama off the line and getting through those first few laps, but they are under pressure from Monster Jammers, the other rookie driver who's been following and stuck in P13 this entire start of the race. This is the major rookie battle that we can see on track currently. The 2 Ferraris, of course, also neck and neck currently. That might be something worth watching. From Yoga's perspective, Yoga chasing them down, and it is going to be a Ferrari wheel-to-wheel racing down the main straight. Beast looking for the move, has got it done before the braking point. Great job from them. Up ahead of Sandman. Meanwhile, Yoga on those soft compound tyre, one of the few cars on the soft, is currently sat in P9 behind them and is chasing down Sandman as DRS has been enabled now. Meanwhile, behind, if you're wondering how that battle's going on, Monster Campers, Terms and Ricegod are wheel to wheel, nose to nose, all the way through this sector. And it's so difficult at this level of racing with so many varying levels. We don't know where everyone sits currently to see these drivers. Oh, there's been a moment. Ricegod and Monster Campers collect each other as Ricegod goes round. No, it's great save from them to keep it out of the wall. As meanwhile, D-Master's not done the same thing, has actually gone into the dirt and has still got some sand on those tyres. And I wonder if that will cause another spin. You can lose a lot of time and a lot of traction with a bit of dirt on your wheels. Meanwhile, the Ferraris now, notably, are no longer chasing no one. They've got Border and RC in front of them. And welcome to the DRS train, though Border's going to be under a lot of pressure. How will they cope? RC up the inside. Great move from them. Forced them wide. And now the other Ferrari's sniffing around. Maybe looking for a move. As we get a yellow flag in the final sector. That is for Henry, who's gone round. Not one of the drivers we're looking at for this race, but one of the drivers we are is Border. How will they recover now from being overtaken? Yoga's just hanging back at the back of this pack. Edge is close behind. Solid Tier 4 driver last season. Off the back of winning the Tier 5 championship in Season 8. Not a difficult driver to chase at all, as Henry has retired from this one. Meanwhile, a couple of other drivers having a close battle. It's Giants Fan and Snakey. This is the battle for P2. Be interesting to see how that one develops. Here comes Border, though. Backs off the move. Smart play. Knows that there's no real move there. You can see the front wing bounce as they go all over the curb through that chicane. Now onto the final main straight. Through the final corner. Has got a good exit there. And is tucked in behind. And this is going to be a good move if they are able to pull it off. On board with Border. Goes to the outside instead of the inside. And RC just doesn't have the grip that they do. Great move from Border. Around the outside into turn 1. That's entertaining, if I've ever seen it. Beautiful move. Meanwhile, Beast behind almost makes contact with RC. He's done a good job to avoid it. Meanwhile, Edge is now all over the back of Yoga. This is, of course, the battle for 9th place. And Edge has so much more speed as Lakoto retires in the pit lane. From what was, I believe, a net last. And, oh, Edge has got a bit of grass on his tyres. He's going to be careful for the understeer. Oh, and Yoga's got caught up on the curb and through goes Edge. Great opportunistic move from the previous MRL champion. Meanwhile, in front of him, the Ferraris are getting a little bit feisty here. Specifically Beast, who's already made a move on his teammate, will now be looking for another move. This is the move for P6 if they're able to get past RC. But RC is currently in the DRS train of the car in front, that being Border. Meanwhile, here comes Border. Back up the inside. I'll say RC back up the inside. But again, Border just has so much pace comparatively to him in that corner. Is able to carry it all the way around the outside as if he's not there, but he's had a bad exit there off of the bank turn, and now RC is alongside. Will they try and keep it wheel to wheel through this tight section? Oh, they do, and Border's lost it. Into the wall they go, and that is their chances of remaining in the points today gone. Meanwhile, some other drivers behind them. There goes his teammate. That's Jordan. But some other drivers now all had a chance for going for a podium, but instead just getting a little bit too wide on the curb. And now that's Monster Jammers out of a chance of challenging for P10. Was going to battle with Terms into the next DRS straight. Now is just trying to keep out of the way on the inside of the corner. Might actually get a corner cutting for that, but no. Probably just a warning. Meanwhile, here's Border, who's now caught up to the back of them. They now have Mops to contend with, another very talented driver. As meanwhile, Snakey's actually fell behind Giants Fan and now is under pressure as Beast has made the move into turn 1. And that's a great move from them. Goes up the inside, had the overspeed. And now will look to try and break away from RC, because if they can, they'll actually be helping their teammate attack RC as well in Sandman. So it'll be interesting to see if strategy comes into play for Ferrari here. The two rookie drivers. Meanwhile, Avira almost silently having a good race here. Battling with Snakey now. Within a second, just about, through the middle sector. Doesn't seem to have the overall grip that Snakey does, but that's fine. Because the DRS will help them cope and help them close up. Though they do seem to be lacking in the straight line department as well. Not getting any time through there as Snakey, I think, deployed a bit. And Snakey is deploying. Trying to break the DRS to Avira. And I think they have, you know. Just about. DRS would be activated. It is open. Oh, Avira's just snuck in. Meanwhile, there was a yellow flag. I believe that is for Monster Jammers again. Who's gone off at the same section of track. There is a huge battle currently, though. Brewing up between Rice God and everyone else behind them. And I wonder if they're going to be under pressure here. Here comes Border, who we know is rapid through this final corner. Oh, there's contact. And Border has been sent round. And that is unfortunate for them. Meanwhile, back at the front of Vera. Chasing after Snakey. Again, it's still within 9/10. There's a car parked off to the side. That is Giants Fan, who's gone round. And Giants Fan, who was in a net P2 in this race, may have just completely cooked his chances of getting on the podium. Meanwhile, Avira's closed right up now to Snakey. And as long as they get a good final two corners here, they will be within a shout of getting a top finish. Meanwhile, round goes, I believe that's Bops, who's gone off into the dirt. As meanwhile, Bops has got a drive through for a contact with Monster Jammers as Avira and Snakey have pit. And they've chose to pit with the leader, meaning Beast will lead the Grand Prix on those medium tyres. We are, of course, in a 50% race. Or sorry, a 25% race, so not the full length that we would normally have. As Terms receives a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. Yoga did not make that mistake. Rice God also receives a 5-second for speeding. That's not what the Mercedes driver wanted. In comes Bops. Bops is going to be serving their 5-second collision, I believe. Or potentially their stop-go. It will be their drive-through. Yeah, they can't actually pit this up. They will just instead serve the drive-through. And now we'll see whether or not pitting early will affect where Avira comes out here. Because Avira was, at this point, net P3. That could be about to change because of whether or not an overcut is worth it round here. Into the pits we expect to see the front 5 drivers. One will stay out, that is Beast. Beast stays out. Giants Fan boxes. RC boxes after them. As does Sandman. As does Edge. Pit limit is on for all of them as they all box. RC goes to the hard tyres, as does Giants Fan. Interesting call there. They're not going for the softs, despite them being viable in this one. Sandman has gone for the softs, as has Edge. Interesting. Indeed. Meanwhile, Avira has re-inherited what is a net P3, but is still only P4 due to Beast still being out on track on 9-lap old mediums. Meanwhile, as everyone starts to come out of the pits, in comes D-Master. Sacco like Taco. Border's now been able to re-inherit P12 as they look on their recovery drive, but they still need to make a pit stop as well, having yet to pit Jordan P11. This is a pre-season race for Season 10 XDDs. This is the pre-season rookie race. We've got a couple of rookies getting their licks in here at a 25%er around Zandvoort. We have another one coming up after this, which will be Monza, where we'll also do some qualifying. As finally, into the pits comes the then race leader, Beast 94, as Drix sets the fastest up of the race on 2-lap-old set of mediums. Snakey will then destroy that, and Avira will closely follow suit, but is not on pace. It'll be interesting to see where Beast comes out here, because they were net P5. They were ahead of Giants Fan. Sorry, net P4, and they are going to remain in P4, but barely. They will have fresh softs to the end, but Giants Fan is on a set of hards, and we just know he's got the pace. RC, meanwhile, has been chasing down Giants Fan and has done a great job keeping with him. Sandman is closing up as well. Giants Fan, 4-time MRL champion. This is going to be a tough battle for Beast to defend against someone with the skill and the workmanship the Giants Fan does behind the wheel. A real test of that Ferrari's capabilities. Now coming on to the back straight. All three of these cars closing up, and you can notice maybe Beast is backing them up a bit because Sandman is closing up. Sandman, of course, the other Ferrari driver, looking to try and get up the field. Would be interesting if they are communicating, are working together slightly here. As Drix goes a little bit faster this lap, 110.2. Snakey says, okay, fair enough, you got me there. You got me there. Can't match that. But here comes Giants Fan. Great exit off the final corner. DRS open. Beast goes defensive, but there's nothing to defend when someone is clearly that much faster down a straight. Giants Fan will take P4 away. Now, will Beast be able to capitalise on any mistakes the Giants Fan makes? Will they be able to stick it out with them? It's doing a good job so far. They've not fell too far behind. A couple of tenths. Meanwhile, they've actually managed to gap RC a little bit. He's fell back. RC was lapping around the same as Giants Fan as well. And now has made a bit of a mistake there in the middle sector. That's going to invite Sandman closer. As RC falls out of DRS range, Beast is comfortably still in it. 3 tenths to gap back to Giants Fan. Is on the faster tyre. And seemingly, it's just going to tuck in behind here. Great racecraft we're seeing here from Beast. Beast, of course, already made 2 overtakes today. One was on RC, one was on his teammate. It's definitely the driver to watch here in this rookie race. Has seemingly been at the centre of all the drama. Will pull to the inside and comfortably as you like overtake Giants Fan. Back for P4. Great move from the Ferrari as Giants Fan looks to try and capitalise on any mistake. No, there is none. Great driving from them. Meanwhile, Sandman just on the verge of DRS currently at 1.2 seconds back from RC. Meanwhile, Terms under pressure now. The final points paying position. We saw Terms in chat. We only have 18 laps in this race. As these two now wheel to or nose to tail, Jordan and Jordan and Terms. Yoga's had a quiet race. A little bit of a mistake early on, knocked them out of the battles. Were at one point P7 behind Sandman, but now it's just sort of sat in P9. Bit of a gap in front, bit of a gap behind. Edge also not able to catch up to the back of Sandman. Meanwhile, here's Giants Fan, and this one's going to be a little bit more difficult to make the move done. Goes to the inside. Now, how will Beast defend? Will they try and stick it around the outside? No. Goes for the switchback, but just doesn't have the room. Giants Fan will take back P4, but I don't think Beast is any way, shape or form done with this fight. You can see different lines through that curved, banked corner. We've seen them all throughout. As meanwhile, Jordan's actually got the move done. Oh, there's contact. And I wonder if Jordan turned in there a bit early on Terms or vice versa. Either way, Terms seemed to get off the throttle and allowed Jordan to stay ahead, so might have admitted fault with that. Meanwhile, down the order, Border finally has boxed. They're going on to soft to the end. They might be looking for fastest lap. as they will be coming out P16. Meanwhile, Rice God's had a quiet race since their mistake. P15 for them. Monster Jammers also P14. But battles down the order. Terms now on the back of Jordan. Well, maybe looking to try and get the move done. Maybe not here, but down the main straight. As meanwhile, Giants fan re-overtaken round the outside by Beast. I almost completely missed that. I'm thankful that I didn't catch that I caught the end of it. Beast has gone round the outside of Giants fan into turn 1. Beautifully done, and is now catching the lapped car of Sergeant Milk. As Rice God receives a 3-second time penalty. They will have to serve at the end of the race. Meanwhile, Terms is up the inside of Jordan this time. There's a bit of contact. I think Terms went deep into the corner, and Jordan will go through. Back into P10. This is the battle for the final points paying position, as Jordan's gone a bit wide. But Terms not able to capitalise. Went wide themselves. And this is a truly interesting battle. Meanwhile, Sandman is now within the DRS of RC. And this is interesting because RC doesn't have much DRS to spend. Neither does Sandman. All Sandman needs to do is remain within that second throughout the next couple laps, and they'll be able to close up. Final 2 laps of the race. Or 3, sorry. As meanwhile, Giant Sun will make the move again on Beast into turn 1. Beast tries to hang it around the outside again. Now tries to cut back. Can't find it. Giants fan is great. Just positions the car in the middle of the corner. Doesn't allow room either side. Otherwise, he'd be making a huge mistake and losing so much time. Beast has to settle in behind. And this is a great little battle between these two for what would be P4s. Terms has got the move done on Jordan this time. Clean as you like into turn 1. Got it done. Clean. And cements themselves in that final points paying position. They do have a penalty to serve though. And that is a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Same penalty that Rice God also has to serve. As meanwhile, Borders actually got past them into turn 1. On those fresh soft tyres. Has cooked up a pretty solid lap there. But now the real battle begins again. At the front of the field, it will be Beast chasing after Giants fan, and maybe a bit too far back this time. Half a second was the gap coming onto the DRS straight, and they've chosen not to go for the move this time. Just sit behind. Maybe looking to break the cycle potentially, as it's been every single lap. They've changed positions, but if you were to count to the very end, Giants fan would get the move done on the final lap. Or maybe Beast just doesn't have the pace to keep up. Meanwhile, they've been catching P3 Avera, who's been sort of nursing those soft tyres for a couple laps now. It's only 2.6. The gap was 8 seconds when they came out of the pit lane. Avera just sort of driving off nonchalantly at this point. As Giants fan hunts them down for the final few laps. RC though is under huge pressure now. Sandman is all over the back of them. The other Ferrari, who's got a lap older tyres than his teammate, but has been none too unhappy with their lot so far. Clips the first chicane. That's not great, but they'll be able to carry the speed through the second one, and they've done so beautifully. Onto the back straight now. Final time as we enter the final lap of the race. It will be an attempted move potentially from Beast. Goes to look up the inside, backs out of it, goes wide through the corner for the better exit, but just isn't able to find it. Meanwhile, here comes Sandman up the inside. Collision between them and RC. RC may have caused that one by turning in. We're not sure. And Sandman will not find the position, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Giants fan under pressure again here from Beast, who's within 2-3 tenths behind him now. This second DRS zone is going to be crucial because Giants fan, I don't think, has a way of defending at this point. They've saved up their ERS, but for what? Meanwhile, Snakey's caught up to the back of Bricks on the final lap. There may be a move for the lead, which would be shocking. Giants fan burns his ERS. Beast has made a slight mistake. They won't have the chance to. There's a Vera now under pressure from Giants fan. Maybe here at the end. as it will be Drix who will win the first rookie race of the day. They will finish ahead of Stakey in P2. Avira will just about hang on for P3. A podium for Mercedes and for a very talented driver. Giants Fan 4th, Beast in 5th. Here comes RC though, who will have just hung on to P6. Great job from them. Ahead of Sandman P7. Edge will now follow through in P8. Yoga, our next rookie, will come through in P9. A great job from them. And Jordan has hung on to P10 in the end. Terms has made a couple of mistakes. And actually, Sacco's got past him on the final lap. And that is dreadfully unfortunate for Terms, who falls down to P13 in the end with their 5 second and served. Monster Jammers, P14 will snip ahead of Border just at the end. 0.025 between them. Great job from them. Meanwhile, we're waiting on the final two drivers, Bops and Ricegod. Ricegod's made a mistake on the final lap as Bops, does a full 360 almost. Only 270 as he crosses the line. And Ricegod will be the final driver and will avoid the Williams as they lose control there. And that will be the end of the first rookie race for the day. And a great race like that from a lot of our rookies. We got to see a lot of their talent, specifically in the Ferrari team. Sandman and Beast putting up great performances for their team, putting on a show, overtaking several times and defending well. It's always hard to tell in these sorts of races where the quality is, where, you know, if the pace is there for their tier. But both had great quality of ability there and showed their driving standards. We'll have a look at the racing incidents. There were a lot of collisions throughout the race and a lot of exceeding track limits. The worst person for it, I believe, was Ricegod, who had a 3 second there at the end. And potentially another 3 second. No, just warnings. A couple of collisions though. Demas had a 5 second for a collision with Lakota. But of course, yeah, and Jordan there posting some hard but fair racing from some of the newbies. That's good to see. It's good to see that they have some racecraft, and we have a good batch of newbies coming into the league for Season 10. But we're not done yet. We still have one more race to go for today. And when we get into that, it will be grand. I just need to make sure I've set it up correctly, because we are now going over to our next track. And that, of course, being the beautiful Monza. Here at the Parabolica, we will be starting this one. It is a beautiful track. The Gran Premio d'Italia. This is the F1 logo, at least, for it. A beautiful track, sweeping corners, the Lesmos throughout the chicanes as well. It's often proved to be the temple of speed, as it's lived up to its name time and time again throughout this throughout our time watching it. 3.599 miles, 11 turns in total. One of the shorter tracks on the calendar, 4 turns, but at the same time, every single one is crucial. Your run, I don't know why it's not replaying these, by the way. I forgot to loop them, that's why. That's lovely. But great, that's fine, we don't need them to loop, we'll just have a look at it again. There are 2 major DRS zones, the run down the hill, then back up again before Ascari, and then of course the run down to turn 1 and the first chicane. Both crucial points on the track. You want to be careful through all of them, as we do have our standings in the first race. This will not determine qualifying. We will be doing another short qualifying for this one, and it'll be interesting to see the differences. Zandvoort is definitely much more focused on your ability to corner and find a setup that works for you in terms of keeping a steady back end. Monza is mainly just about straight line speed, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of speeds these drivers go with throughout. We've seen a couple of drivers actually dip out of this race, so we still have room, I believe, for new drivers. 2 drivers have gone. We do have Rusty joining us for this one. Will be driver number 21, I guess, in this list. Unless that is everyone. No, we've only had one person drop out. I can't count numbers. Rusty will be taking the place of whoever finished 12th last time out. Yay. We have one more race to go, though. This one promises to be a good one. I think we're ready to go, Maud. Whenever you are, send out that ping and let's get us going. This one promises to be a close one again, but we have seen before, Monza is known for opening up gaps, creating divides between drivers. If you get caught up in a battle, you will fall behind, you will lose time, you will slip out of that top 10 positions. But of course, we have to get through qualifying before we get to the race, and be interesting to see how they do. My eyes from this one have to be on Avira again. Looked great, consistent and competitive throughout all of that race. Had some of the better times in qualifying, and then was able to maintain it during the race. That's always a good thing to see. Beast didn't have the quali pace necessarily. Was outdone by their teammate in the end in Sandman, but then had an absolutely phenomenal race. Overtook their teammate, overtook RC, overtook Giants Fan, and defended multiple times. You know, showing that racecraft, that expertise you need to see in a race, because it's not all about quali pace. Even if you've got all of the driving standards in the world and you can hit those one-lappers time and time again, until you can drive it with a full fuel load, it doesn't matter. And until you can manage your tyres, it really doesn't matter. And right here, we're going to be able to see now which of these drivers are going to be able to do that. I want to see more out of Yoga. Looked promising in the last race, didn't find their way through. Same for Border, who had a great qualifying and then just 2 incidents knocked them down the field. It was very upsetting to watch them fall down. But we'll see if they'll be able to pull off results here again as we now get ready for the second race of this sprint, or of these sprint rookie races. Of course, there is talent across the board. I've said that 1,000 times. I'll say 1,001. But we are ready to go for qualifying. Let's get the lobby set up properly. Bing, bang, bong. And that should be everything. But let's see who we've got coming out onto the track first. I've got my wonderful tool up for live timings, and apparently it auto-uploaded those. Hey, look at that. The system's working. That's great. Let's see who comes out first. Everyone is currently set for softs. No one is pulling an edge and deciding to go, you know what, let's go for inters on the first run. But we are still a full minute into the session, and no one has decided to make the bolt yet out the pit lane. But we'll see first who will be the one to go out. But last time we saw, I believe it was Borderman. It was Sergeant Milk who went out first. And you can see Drix there changed his tyres. I think Drix might be the first one to go out. As Giants fan, you puzzle me as a human being sometimes. 4-time MRL champion, maybe more, as now we're seeing everyone go on to intermediates. Lovely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. 4 drivers actually set for inters. 2 have swapped back. Oh, boy. Is there a stip? Did I miss something? I might have missed something. Anyway, it appears that we'll see an Alfa Romeo out first, as Lakota will retire in the pit lane. Yeah, Edge is going out on inters. That is real. Oh, for God's sake. Edge will be the first one out. Then it'll be Yogia. Oh, Yoga, sorry. I don't know why I said Yogia. Sorry. Then we've got the Mercedes. That Mercedes will belong to... I can see it. It's Avira. Not Avira, sorry. Oh, that one is Avira. The first one belongs to Rice God. And, of course, we've got Bops out there as well. The other Alfa Romeo of D-Master. Well, now, we're going to try and avoid talking about any of the intermediate runners like Bops, who is, for some reason, destroying the boards. Yeah, that's Bops. Good job, Bops. Everyone is practically out on track already, but we know Edge will be the first one to cross the line, so we'll go and watch him on board. Apparently this is the best angle we can get. We're either riding inside or outside. Can we get a different camera angle? No, we can't. What about now? There we go. Right, Edge on the intermediates. Now, you know what? No, I'm not going to watch him. Let's watch Yoga. We're not watching anyone who's got 4% wear on their tyres already. Let's watch Yoga, who is on the soft compound and looking to have a better race this time out than they did last. As we see the run down to turn 1, the front wing low on the ground. Sparks flying there momentarily from under the car. As they now heavy braking into turn 1. You want to clip the first one, carry the speed into the second, then get the exit right. Seems to have done a pretty good job so far at navigating the first chicane. Now the run down to the second one. Through Curva Grande. Flat out, barely even a worry for these F1 cars, but back in the day it used to be quite the tumultuous thing. Up by 3/4 of a second on the inter runner ahead of him. There's a good chance he might catch him by the end of this run. Great speed through the first Lesmo. Carries it to the curve. Now again through the second one. Tighter, narrower, shallower apex. Harder to get right, but you carry more speed through it. Now the run down the DRS straight. It's actually going to get a great toe off of the Williams here. Of edge. Now through Ascari. Wants to carry the speed, but the car just wouldn't grip. Now again the toe. Down the back straight. No DRS this time, so slipstream matters a lot. Now into the heavy braking point. 50-meter board. Carry it through Parabolica. Technically has a new name for the corner, but it does not matter what it's called. He's absolutely scorched past edge. Will cross the line. It's a 120.9. The next car across the line. Which one is it? I can't tell. It's none of them. It's an Aston Martin. It's an Aston Martin and it's of Henry. He's on the Inters, goddammit. It'll be the Mercedes then. No, it's not you. It'll be Avira. Avira's gone round. Avira's been punted by a Williams. Bobs, what have you done? Bobs has almost just parked it on the line. Oh, no. Here comes a Red Bull. Never mind. Avira's just spinning. Avira's got a 5th place for colliding with Sergeant Milk. Has Sergeant Milk crashed into them? I think he has. Oh, boy. RC goes fastest. Jesus, this is tight. Alright, need to get off the line, boys. Into the pit lane. Quickly, before the bloody Haas comes around the corner. Who is that? Is that Terms? I think it might be. It is. Terms is starting his flying lap. He somehow managed to invalidate his outlap. Now they're down to turn 1 for him. Meanwhile, here come the Ferraris. Sandman and Beast. Beast will be first across the line. Beast goes 119.8. P1 provisionally. Sandman goes P2. Half a second slower, but still high on the grid. Meanwhile, Drix is currently on a fly. It's a good 1/4 of a second up in the first sector. That's to be expected, though. It is Drix after all. Who else is on a flying lap? Jordan in P11 currently is on a flyer. You've seen Jordan here a few times in MRL. Oh, he's gone deep, and that will be no invalidation, but it's a slower Ascari, and that's not going to be worth keeping the end on. Meanwhile, Monster Jammers, who was almost at the top end of the Alpine, has absolutely mullered the first half of that chicane, and has got on the throttle a bit late, but will cross the line now, as Drix has spun it the final corner, I believe. Yep, yes he did. Either that, or he just parked it, and wanted to go slowest. Either way, he's barely slower than Henry, who has set a time. Meanwhile, Monster Jammers, 26.8 first sector. Not a bad first sector. It's a couple of tenths down on the Ferraris currently. Ferrari definitely seem to have the 2 best rookies so far on their team. Jesus, what was that? As Giants-fan has been disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location. And you know what? That's just kind of funny. Giants-fan will start at the back of the grid. Meanwhile, good lap there. Not sure by who. Someone improved. I think it might have been Yoga. By the way, across the line come a bunch of cars now. It will be Monster finishing his lap, 21.4. It's not a great lap, but it's enough to get him up to P6. Meanwhile, also on a flying lap, I think Ricegod has just started a flying lap, but has not necessarily got the first corner that right. Drix has now been disqualified. That's... What are the McLarens doing? Either way, McLarens will start at the back of the field. Good job, boys. Here comes Avira to start their flying lap. This is the driver to watch. They were able to be the fastest of the rookies through the first race at Zandvoort. But Monza is a different beast altogether. Will they have the pace here? Early gearing up. Good job. Actually went down a first gear through the chicane specifically to get the extra bite from the front end. Now the run through Curva Grande into the second chicane. It's gone fastest of anyone in the first sector. As Beast improves with a 19.8 again. Goes 400s faster than their previous lap. Meanwhile, Border goes P2. Gets ahead of Jordan. And puts both AlphaTauris in a Ferrari sandwich at the front. Meanwhile, across the line, here comes a Williams at edge on intermediates. It's still a 23.8. Not a representative time from him. There's a couple of cars coming around the final corner. I believe that is a Henry has spun it. Oh no. Henry has spun it in front of Avira. Avira, who has been cooking a great lap. Oh, never mind. He's off into the wall. That's fine. Edge has been disqualified for sitting the wrong way. Edge has lost it down somewhere else. And it's a 19.6 from Avira. 10th and a half faster than Beast. And it puts them on the front row of the grid alongside Beast for the race. Currently 3 rookies. 1, 2 and 3. That's what we want to see out of a rookie race. Meanwhile, Sergeant Milk, I believe, has ran out of fuel. Either that or is nursing those tyres beautifully. By the way, that was a soothing sound. Terms is on a flying lap. It's a few tenths off of pole currently. 4 tenths back. With that 26.6 first sector. Oh, it's got a bit wide through the first Lesmo. Carried too much speed and done the same on the second one. It's actually broke a bit too much on that one. As meanwhile, one of the Williams has just gone straight through. That will be bops. God's sake. What are they doing? Anyway, Terms now through Ascari. Hooks it up well. Overtakes, I believe that is the Mercedes there of Rice God. Or Avira, who's just finished their lap. One of the two. It was Rice God. Avira pulls into the box ahead of them. No tow from them. How will Terms do? Where will they sit? Across the line, it's a 20.8. Puts them P7. They outqualify Yoga currently. Yoga still has to go one more time. They're on a flying... Oh, they're on their outlap currently. Meanwhile, Sandman was only a 10th down. But was backed off their lap. I don't think they've had a great run through the Lesmos. Yeah, and they've dropped 2 seconds now. So I wonder if they made a mistake through there. And they've decided to save battery, maybe go for one more run. They only have a lap of fuel remaining. So potentially have realised they wouldn't make it back around with their fuel situation. Might just be boxing here. They have already set a lap on those tyres. Wasn't an improvement, or at least enough of one to get ahead of Jordan. Meanwhile, RC is on a flying lap and has matched their first sector. A couple of other drivers on laps, believe. Oh, I'm looking as much as I can, but it's quite difficult. D-Master has just started theirs. Currently sat in P12. They've got Yoga also on a lap with them ahead of them. Both have matched each other, or matched themselves in the first sector. D-Master has gone 3 tenths up on his personal best through there. But considering his personal best is only a 22.7, it's not the most indicative lap of a quality speed. And he's actually completely lost it through Lesmo 1. Very grateful he's not ended up in the wall there. But carries the speed through well. As meanwhile, Bops, doesn't matter, he's on goddamn Inters. Yoga has been a little bit off. Their PB. It's not been the best of middle sectors, but will they be able to find time in the final? Run up to the line. They do find half a second It's only good enough for P6 though. There's still half a tenth off of the second row of the grid. Meanwhile, across the line behind them, D-Master not able to improve. And Yoga, disappointed it seems there with their finishing position in quali. But we still do have time for a couple more laps, as for some reason Bobs is driving backwards. And there's the DSQ. Okay. I'm not even going to ask. Because why would you? Anyway, here's a driver we haven't seen a lot of. It's Rusty. Rusty, of course, one of the other rookie drivers jumping in, as far as I'm aware. Did sign up for this race, wasn't able to make the first one. Will they be able to do something here in the second? Their first lap was a 1:21.8. They're going to need to improve massively if they're going to get onto the front row of the grid or get into a representative position. Let's see what they can do. Run down to the first corner as Henry goes up to P8. Good lap from them. They've actually out-qualified Terms. Oh, and Rusty's not had a great first sector, and you can see immediately pulls to the side. D-Master has improved massively on this lap. Where does that put them? Pole position for D-Master out of nowhere. Great lap from him. Puts him up to P1. Meanwhile, Yoga, who I think was going for one more lap, has had an awful final sector. And will probably just box, but no, going for one more lap. ERS enabled. DRS enabled. Has not had the greatest of runs down to turn 1. Will need an almighty lap if they are going to improve on that set of softs. Only 4 minutes left in the session. Through the first sector they come now. Through Curva Grande. Keeps it tight. Definitely a controller user. You can see by the janky wheel flicks there. There's a 1/10.5 down already though. Tries to carry speed through the chicane. Doesn't necessarily hook it up as well as he'd like. Meanwhile, Snakey, yes, you are seeing that right, is on another set of intermediates. Yoda again, just all over the track. Honestly, best case scenario now. Box, get a new set of softs on, go for one more. That's the way you should be doing this. 4 tenths down. Cuts Ascari. Now you've got to make the call to box. That set of softs are just not going to cut it anymore. Meanwhile, a couple of other drivers starting flying laps. Terms. It's just set a 20.8. Apparently. But no, they haven't. They've just started their flying lap. Meanwhile, there's a Red Bull. Currently sat 11th. Called Sergeant Milk. Who might be an interesting case. RC as well. It's actually up by 4. Oh, Yoga! Yoga and D-Master have collided going into the pit lane. Both have a 5-place grid penalty. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, here comes RC. D-Master's DSQ, so he will not be on pole. Oliveira's back on pole, despite not having the fastest time of the session. And RC has gone P3 now. Meanwhile, Border had a good first sector. Comfortable through the first Lesmo. Comfortable again through the second Lesmo. Seems to have a lot of grip through there, but is not pushing the car to its fullest yet. Now the run down to Ascari. Up by a 1/10.5. This is a good lap from them. They might be able to get near the front of the grid. 1/10.5. They'll need to fight another half a tenth if they're going to get on the front row. Meanwhile, Snakey off in the gravel. Can Borderman steal a front row away? Henry's disqualified. It's P2 for Borderman. Found 2 tenths. Great lap from them. Monster Jam is up to P5. Great lap from him. Here comes Terms now. Up by 3 tenths in the first sector. We're getting to the cusps at the end of this. Oh, and Terms, no! Terms has lost it. Oh, and he's parked it in a dangerous spot as well. Great job getting off the track quickly. That's good enough for Rice God, who is also on a lap. Rice God yet to set a competitive lap time. Currently sat P14. It's not the best of times, and he's struggling in that middle sector. He's in fact gone slow enough to set off the yellow flags through Ascari. But this will be their one and only lap if they are going to cross the line. And they will have a Ferrari giving them the tow at the start of it. Drops the gear. It's not been a great lap, but will it be enough to get into the top 10? No, it will not. P12 for them. As meanwhile, the Ferraris start their final lap and Sandman has gone into the wall. So Sandman will not be improving. Beast, on the other hand, oh, shaky through the first Ascari. Or through the first of the chicanes. Sandman will not be improving. Meanwhile, across the line now comes Yoga. No improvement from them. Mercedes across the line. It'll be Avira. Avira will not be able to improve. Into the pits comes Border. Border retires. They're not going to be able to improve. Neither will Terms or Rusty. Rice God, meanwhile. Oh, and he's collided with Yoga. Or with Beast, who's retired. I don't know what's happened there. But collisions have been had. Rice God has been disqualified for driving the wrong way. Meanwhile, Sergeant Milk is improving. Oh, but it's got two wheels on the grass. The rear end does not want to work. Meanwhile, the car in front of him, Yoga, is still going. It's just sort of matched the middle sector. I'm not sure if it's going to be a huge improvement though. Unless they get this final corner bang on. They've wristed around the outside and they've invalidated. No improvement there. Meanwhile, Sergeant Milk goes as wide as they did. They're also invalidated, so it doesn't matter. Avira's the only one still on track. As Jordan has boxed and we are just waiting for them to be entering their pit box. That is the session. And that does mean Avira will be on pole for the qualifying, or for the 25% race. Borderman will be P2, Beast P3, RC P4, and this is all before penalties. Because we do have penalties. So here we are then. That is the grid. Avira will not be starting on pole. It will be Border on pole. Beast P2, RC P3, Monster Jammers P4, Jordan P5, and it will be, of all people, in P6, Avira. Then it will be Sandman P7, I think. I think he might have actually got a penalty. No, Sandman P7, then Terms P8, Sergeant Milk P9, Rusty P10, Snakey P11, Lakota P12, and Yoga P13. D-Master P14. Then we'll have to scroll down a bit further to have a look at the rest of them. I'll have to tab back in for that. That would be useful. D-Master P14, Henry P15, Rice God P16, Giants Fan 17th, Bops 18th, Edge 19th, and Drix qualifies alongside them in P20. Look at all of those DSQs. But it will be the rookies at the front of the grid. All 11. And Jordan. Chap. What? What just happened? Rest in peace to Jaguars. Yeah, T1 is going to be a nightmare. T1, oh, by the way, T1 is tier 1. Giants Fan is a tier 1 driver, as is Drix, as is Bops, as is Snakey, I think. It might be tier 2 now, I don't know. It shouldn't be tier 2 considering the pace they had last time, but we will be getting ready to go racing soon. Let's have a look at the tyres that everyone seems to be using. The majority of the front of the field, the front 10, all currently set on mediums. In fact, a lot of the front are on mediums. 5 red lights here for the second of the final race here. The rookie race. And it is off. And everyone is underway as I'll quickly swap all of this around to the correct details. There we go. Border still leads from Beast into turn 1. This is where the chaos could begin. Beast up the inside. Several cars launched straight off the track. Border has somehow came away with the lead. Sandman's got a 3-second time penalty already for corner cutting as chaos has ensued in the back. Meanwhile, Jordan has returned to last place. He's backwards. D-Master gets a 5-second penalty for gaining a position despite only being in P17. Avira has dropped all the way back down to P18. And this is D-Master. Oh, there's been a collision. I think Rice Scott and Bops have come together on the straight. And meanwhile, Henry is now round at the chicane. That's an interesting place to go round. Oh, and there's a collision. Punched off there by Jordan, who will happily take P18 away. And through goes Bops into P19. Meanwhile at the front, Snakey now leads. Somehow has jumped up to P1 off the start. 11th to 1st. Already. Borderman unfortunate not to still hold it. Sandman P3 up from P7. Monster Jam is still P4. There's another job of sticking where they started. Sergeant Milk is up 4. Great job from him. As is Lakota up 6. Yoga up 7. Oh, so up 6. Drix and Edge currently battling for what is P8. Drix has somehow got up to P8 now. Up 11 spots. Edge looking for the move again now. Run down to turn 1. Has he got the move done before the breaking point? I think he has. Oh, there's a big crash. That's the two Haas cars have come together. Terms and Rusty. And somehow, Avira's avoided both of them. Meanwhile, D-Master's going slowly. And Avira's up to P12. Meanwhile, at the front of the field. Oh, boy. Never mind. Not that far up the field. Next car up, RC, battling with Giants fan, almost colliding, but managing to keep it steady. Through the chicane they go, and it looks like RC has all the pace in the world. Meanwhile, yellow flag again, this time for Rusty again. He's gone round. Oh, he's sat on the chicane. You know, I think he might be beached. He is. He's beached it. Rusty has beached it on the chicane. He's about to get DSQ'd. Oh no, what a horrible, horrible race for him. Meanwhile, Sandman's gone round. Sandman's gone off at Ascari. You've got to rejoin carefully. Meanwhile, Beast has almost gone round himself. He's now been overtaken by Terms. You can see the horrible, horrible feeling. Oh, Sandman beached it. I think he might have. He's got a wheel hovering there. He has! Sandman is out! Meanwhile, there's another collision. Rice Scott and D-Master now. 5-second time penalty for a severe collision. I gotta know what is going on here. What is all of this? It's chaos! Everywhere you look, there's something new. Meanwhile, here's Lakota and Monster Jammers. With Sergeant Milk chasing after them. The two Alpines sat together. Meanwhile, behind them, Edge has got back past Drix. Both are now up 12 positions. As Drix is all over the road. RC is behind them. RC's got ahead of Giants fan. Who's now behind Yoga, who's up to P9. Great job from him. DRS enabled. Here comes Giants fan. Straight line setup. Does he have anything to get past him? No, he doesn't. Nope, straight on. Meanwhile, Avira just got past. I zoned out for half a second. Yellow flag for Jordan, meanwhile. Snakey is gone, by the way. Snakey is just gone. Absolutely sent. Meanwhile, here's Sergeant Milk now. DRS open. No ERS being spent. Looks to the inside. You've got to be careful. There's another car in front. Oh, there's contact. And he's round. And you've got to be careful of that. Meanwhile, somehow, Monster Jammers has fell down to P11 off of that. And somehow out of all of that, Lakota's up onto the podium. Edge is now caught up to the back of him, as has Drix. And Sergeant Milk, who is still there. He's now got his teammate behind him, RC, who's been rapid all weekend. Yoga almost loses the back end. He's now got a Vera behind him as Jordan speeds into the pit lane to retire. He is done for today. As D-Master will carry on for another lap. I thought he was boxing. Meanwhile, here comes a Vera straight around the outside of Yoga like he wasn't even there. Oh, it's big crash. That's Lakota and RC. Lakota's tyres are still spinning. I think there's been more chaos here. There are 5 cars. What is this? There's been a collision. Transfan's been spun. Lakota's been DSQ'd. Guys, please. This is a rookie race, not a demolition derby. Drix now, under pressure from Avira. Avira's gone up the inside, has made the move stick. Have they? No, they haven't. Great job from Drix to defend that. Meanwhile, Yoga's still there behind them, fighting the car all the way. Avira is all over the back of Drix. This is a battle for third, by the way, not for second or first, because Border's nearly 8 seconds up the road, and Snakey's another 10. Oh my god! Have we got any more close battles that could lead to chaos? Oh yeah, you know. RC. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I thought that was it. It just lagged. RC behind Yoga. This is the battle for 5th. Behind them, there's a couple of battles. Beast has not had a great race. Neither has Sandman. The Ferrari boys, who were so promising in the first outing, definitely not had a good time here at Monza at the Streets of Chaos. Meanwhile, Yoga under pressure from RC now. How will they determine to defend against a flying Red Bull? RC almost pins themselves. That would have been an interesting way to do it. But here comes Avira. Off the final corner. Already up to max speed. Drix cannot defend. Burns the ERS. It doesn't matter. What straight line Avira has there. Oh, but they've missed a corner. Avira has missed a corner. Gives the position back to Drix. Meanwhile, there was almost contact there as Yoga stays ahead of RC. And Sergeant Milkmine is just chilling in P7. Giants Fan down in 8th. Bop's 9th. Beast is now in the points in P10. After starting P2, though, you got to think they're disappointed with that. Because meanwhile, the Aston Martin behind of Henry is struggling for pace out there. He's got terms all over the back of him now. Monster Jammers was involved in an incident, is now back to 13th. Has got Ricegod behind. Edge and D-Master are our last 2 drivers, but at the front of the field, Borderman, who was kind of heroic last time in what they did and being existing. Everyone's blaming Zohan. That's fair. I would blame him as well. I don't have the meme, but yeah. As Bops receives a 3-second for multiple warnings. I think that's for corner cutting. Meanwhile, Yoga's under pressure from RC. RC up the inside. You got to be careful here, boys. A parabolic, you don't want to be making a move. But Bob's is RC is already through ahead of Yoga, and Yoga will box. Athex, that now is the lap to pit, however, has sped into the pit lane, so it doesn't really matter. In comes Bops as well. He's got a 3-second for multiple warnings, so he won't be able to serve that. Beast will follow them in. Will he speed into the pits? No, he will not. Henry stays out. Terms, will you speed into the pit lane? No, nailed it. Monster Jammers. No speeding. Rice God stays out. Edge. Speeding? Speeding. Okay. There's always one. You catch one eventually. Yeah, you don't mess with the Zohan. Oh. Anyway, Avira leads the race after all of that. The pit stop here is a long one. The undercut is powerful. If you're wondering, here is Snakey. He's now almost within a second of Giants Fan, but does have Sergeant Milk, who has not boxed, right behind him, with DRS. I don't see how this is a problem. And neither does Snakey as he just drives away. Jesus Christ, Milk! He's getting the shit out of me. Oh my lord. That lag really screwed with my head. Henry gets a 3-second for multiple warnings. Will RC speeding to the pit lane? No. Will Giants Fan speeding to the pit lane? I would be shocked. There we go. Sergeant Milk has stayed out. Meanwhile, here's Border. Where will he fit? He should fit into net P2. technically P3 currently because Sergeant Milk is still yet to box. You know what? Let's pull up the tyres and the stop so far. There you are. So Sergeant Milk, the only driver yet to pit. Drix has pit. I think Rice Scott and Henry pit on lap 1. Potentially. I don't even know. There's some chaos down at the first chicane though. As Giants fan comes out, Beast is back up into the points. D-Master's now up to P11 on a set of softs. And Edge is still last. Meanwhile, Sergeant Milk falling back and now Borderman is catching. There has been an incident in the background. And it is Yoga, who has Austin Powers it into a wall. As I've just scratched my mustache and it hurt. Oh my lord. Anyway, back to regularly scheduled programming, potentially. Here comes Avira, looking for a move on Drix, as Snakey says the fastest lap. Avira's fresh out of the box here, and has actually got the run before the DRS zone is clear of Drix, and I wonder if Drix did that intentionally. Because the DRS detection point is the braking point for that corner, for Parabolica. And now he will have the DRS. Let's see it open up. He does have it. Does he have the pace to stay ahead, or to get back ahead of Avira? I don't think he does. Avira clears Drix comfortably. Ridiculous pace for the Mercedes here. But he's not had a good run through the chicane. I just think he's got great DRS. No, he's using ERS. That would explain it. He's got great straight line speed and a bunch of ERS to burn. Meanwhile, Sergeant Milk has finally boxed and he is struggling on those soft tyres. Either that or he is lagging. I cannot tell. Terms putting D-Master under pressure here. This is another rookie driver looking to make their debut. As D-Master is struggling. Never mind, it is lag. As there has been an incident, that is Rice God and Henry who have collided in the first sector. Meanwhile, Avira, quietly solid. Avira has been the past 2 races, but now we get to see it in full display. Mercedes driver currently absolutely murdering the rest of the rookies. Has done an amazing job on pure pace and consistency, but now is under pressure. Here comes Drix, a mighty tier 1 race winner in Drix, who goes 7/10 faster that lap than he did the one before. Round the outside into turn 1, gets it done before the braking point. Navira has no defence, because you cannot defend against that. Great catch of the car though, and has got a great exit as well on the run down to the next chicane. Yeah, Drix is under pressure here. Drix is going to have to defend. Avira goes round the outside, Fernando Alonso-esque, into the chicane, but backs out of it before the braking point. And maybe the smartest play there Avira could have made. Just needs to stick within the DRS as Yoga gets a 3-second time penalty and overtaken by Beast, who has managed to make their way back up to P9. They're chasing down Sergeant Milk now, who is on fresher soft tyres, but I would argue Beast has had the pace advantage this weekend. Terms still putting D-Master under pressure into that chicane. Can't seem to get a move done. Meanwhile, Avira is over the back end of Drix and just seems to have a better Ascari than Drix almost every time. Needs to think logically though. Needs to wait for the DRS this time. Backs off the move. Doesn't want to go for it just yet. Plays it smarter this time. We know they've got the straight line advantage. And Drix has got a 3-second as well. And they will pull to the side. They're not battling anymore. As Terms gets a 3-second as well. It's very hard not to around here. But here comes Giant Sun and Bobs. This is the battle for P6. That should be a move easily done by Giants fan. Around the outside, Bobs has no defence. For the 4-time champion, almost punts him off into the breaking point. That would have been funny. I could imagine the salt afterwards. Meanwhile, Drix still battling with Avira. If you're wondering, by the way, Border is still chilling out there in P2. Has had a solid, if unremarkable, race. Hasn't done anything necessarily of note except for lose the lead on lap 1. But since then has been consistently P2, just like Avira was last time. And that kind of makes them the unsung hero of this race. The other rookies have not had so much luck. Beast is catching Sergeant Milk. This is the battle for P8. It's 4 points on offer. Beast, who looked great last time with their overtaking ability, has now got DRS, or is just outside of it, I think, for the breaking point. You can't even see if it's open. It isn't open. They are now within the DRS range of Sergeant Milk, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them make the move within the next lap or so. As we come on to lap 12 now. Snakey already through the first chicane, as there is a battle up front. Avira under pressure from Drix. But I don't think Drix will go for the move here. There's no real point for them to go for the move without causing a collision. And all Avira needs to do is stay safe, but has not had the best of chicanes. Has actually lost the back end a bit. As meanwhile, here comes Beast. Sergeant Milk goes defensive. Yoga's almost lost the back end. Into the braking zone. And look at that quality move there from Beast. Past Sergeant Milk, who now deploys the RS, desperate to get back in front. Trying to look around the outside of Curva Grande, he can't find it. Now needs to be mindful of his braking point into the chicane. Does a good job to avoid making a mistake. Oh, it's just lost the back end there. Had a better exit than Beast. But doesn't seem to have the pace to be able to keep up with them. Meanwhile, Giant Sand and Bob still trailing positions for P4, or P6, sorry, as there is double waved yellows, and that is for Avira, who's unfortunately gone off. And I wonder if they've just got two wheels on the inside there of Ascari. And that has carried them back down a P7. They'll still be comfortably there. Beast has only now just come through Ascari. But that has to be bitterly disappointing for the Mercedes car. Meanwhile, Sergeant Milk still within range, touching distance of Beast. Will have DRS this lap and is burning the RS. It is the final lap of the race. And you have to be mindful not to do something stupid into turn 1. Beast, though, is desperate for this move. Ooh, Sergeant Milk thought about it. Couldn't get it done. Has just got a bit all over the curb there. Beast still has a bunch of battery to work with. Meanwhile, D-Master and Yoga. And Terms, sorry, they've locked wheels there on the outside. And through goes Monster Jammers. Past 1. On the final lap of the race. Meanwhile, it is a snaky win. Has led from lap 1. Did not put a foot wrong. And has won the Italian rookie race. Meanwhile, the first rookie driver, the winner of the rookie section of the rookie race, is Border. Goes P2. Drix will finish in P3. 3-second time penalty, which will not matter as RC is comfortably behind in P4. Giant Stone P5. Bops has binned it into a wall for P6. Avira will only get P7. Actually, it's a 3-second just to give Beast a little bit of hope. The Beast will not make it through. Sergeant Milk with their 6 seconds will not, or potentially will still finish in P9. Behind him, as Yoga crosses the line, they finish P10. 5-second unserved penalty as D-Master weaves across the line as well. They spin, they cross it, and they actually do finish P10 ahead of Terms, just about, who is 11th. Though that really is P11 for both of them. P13 for Monsters. Now waiting on Rice God, Edge and Henry, who have collided. I believe Henry and Edge have punted each other on the final lap. Edge has been disqualified. Jesus. Oh, well, there's the revenge punch from Henry. As we migrate host, that has been all for what I would say is one of the most interesting rookie races we've seen yet. A lot of talent and a lot of chaos in both races. We got to see some quality racing in the first one, and then we got to see some quality one-lappers in the second one. That will be all for today. If you have enjoyed, please do tune in tomorrow at 7 PM Eastern. We have another rookie race coming up for you, I believe hosted by Maud again, the legend that he is. And there you will see some of the top drivers top up-and-coming drivers for this season, battle it out to try and earn a spot on a team. But for now, I have been Dan, and you have been watching MRL. The rookie race is over.